Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kleros community call of 16 of July 2025. This is the first community call I come after a few weeks because, as you know, we have been um, at the HCC conference in Cannes a few weeks ago, and we tend to meet with the team twice a year. Well, we work remotely, so it's always a good thing to see our faces once in a while. So we typically do it twice a year, once in the HCC conference, Ethereum Paris, or well, it used to be Ethereum Paris, now it's Ethereum, Cannes, and then the DevCon or DevConnect, whatever happens the given year. And so the next time we meet will be in November in Buenos Aires. So I'm super happy that we will get the Kleros team coming to Buenos Aires, which is, as you very well know, the world capital of crypto. And we expect, I mean, I cannot say anything for now, but to do some really, really cool announcements by then. But I mean, I will just not say anything for now. Um, Okay. Well, let me tell you a bit what happened in HCC. So we had three talks. I gave a talk about the research we are doing about the use of AI in Kleros, discussing um, how we are experimenting with the use of agents for as jurors. I spoke about how the different use cases that can be used um, for this. We are particularly exploring a lot how AI can be used for resolving IP disputes. Copyright infringement and stuff like that. And well, uh, we have had for a long time a thesis about how the dispute resolution ecosystem is going to evolve. The first time we wrote about this was in 2019 when we presented our thesis about what we think that we will have in the future three main areas. For like more objective and simpler cases, we will have probably just AI resolution. For a bit more complex and cases where you need some understanding of emotions of parties or understanding the context in which an agreement was done, or some more sophisticated judgment about a case, then we think that decentralized justice type of Kleros disputes systems are going to be more prevalent. And then for more complex cases that involve um, moral judgment, that involve legal reasoning, which is more complex, this will be still probably resolved by more traditional dispute resolution methods like justice systems and the like. So this was in 2019, and lots of things happened since then. And well, in my talk, I presented a bit the learnings we had since those days and how we can use some tools of Kleros to align AI with human goals. As you know, one of the problems that AI has is that you make an algorithm and then you set it loose, and then the algorithm starts working, and sometimes it starts to optimize things that are not what one expected the algorithm to optimize. Very clear example is well, social media. Like Facebook created this algorithm to curate feeds of users, and the goal they set was to make higher engagement. And the algorithm discovered that the way to create more engagement was just to produce content or to show content that would produce moral outrage to people. So this, of course, as you know, had not great impact on societies. And well, I'm not going to go into this because you know what happened. So well, I spoke about this, and I spoke about how Kleros can be used as a tool for AI alignment as well. Uh, referencing a paper I wrote by request of the American Bar Association in 2023, where I explain how Kleros can be used for this. I'm not going to repeat the talk now because otherwise you will not watch it. So do watch it. It's on YouTube, or it's also on Twitter. I will maybe let William tell a bit about his own talk, because he always has a talk at every conference we go to, because I mean he's a Kleros star. So yeah, William, please.
Sure. I talked about peer prediction. So this is this academic field, this intersection between computer science and economics. There's a lot of research into how to incentivize crowds, which is of course very relevant for Kleros, which is fundamentally a crowdsourced platform. And I talked about some of the historical, existing mechanisms people do, why it's hard to adapt them to blockchain settings. Overviewed a bit of the research other people have been doing about how to do peer prediction in blockchain settings, and maybe with less ambitious mechanisms, but you build in more attack resistance. And then mostly the sort of rest of the talk, I focused on research that we've been doing on how to sort of adapt some of these ideas to deal with kind of deposit size in courts where there's a strong imbalance between which side typically wins the dispute. Like if you have disputes between a small business owner and a freelancer, if the small business owner wins 98% of the time, how do you incentivize people to not just always vote for the small business owner without having very large deposits? And I presented an idea based on peer prediction, adapting some of these existing mechanisms from this academic literature. And sort of the interesting thing about that is that the kind of attack model you have turns into less about trying to change the results and more about griefers that can try to grief people by raising the stakes on certain cases. So there's an interesting attack analysis. It's maybe a little more adaptable for our means. I suggest you all go watch the talk. I've also written blog articles, or I guess a blog article about this. This continuing research is probably will ultimately result in a dispute kit that will be compatible with V2 that draws on these ideas to handle cases where there's this imbalance between which sides typically win.
Thank you, William. There's that, and then there was a talk by Clément about prediction markets, Futarchy, and all those new decision-making mechanisms based on prediction markets. Okay, so that was one of the things. Then, of course, as in any conference, lots of time spent in business development activities and meeting new people, networking, and also following up with previous conversations we had with other with different projects. We are as you know, Kleros has lots of different use cases, but lots. I mean, basically three main categories. One of them is the escrow type of situations, or the Alice and Bob disputes, and curation types of disputes about certifications, and then the Oracle kind of disputes. And since all of the projects are there at the same time, it's a good time to engage with them and move forward conversations. And then maybe Jim, you want to also add something about the HCC? If you are there, or any other member of the team also. I don't know. Are you there?
Was it mentioned on that? Me?
You're there?
Yeah, it looks like there's an issue. Like you cannot hear me.
I can hear you now, but not great. Okay, let's start by some other one. I don't know. Maybe Fortunato, you want to also give your perspective about the conference, or Marcos? Am I the only one in the room or not? No, you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Because there was this one time that I think 1 year or so ago, and I was speaking for 50 minutes straight, and I mean nobody could hear me because there was some bug, and I spent literally 50 minutes and nobody. But okay, we're good. We're good now. Are you there, Fortunato?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you. Hello,
Yeah,
everyone.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a very, very cool experience at STC, both for meeting the team and to get to know also some of our partners, because we, as you mentioned, we have ongoing projects with a lot of companies, both that help us to improve Kleros, or also partners with whom we are building some new products. For example, I got to talk with guys from Shutter, which are quite important in our development of Kleros V2, or another interesting project we are moving forward with that is related to curation, and we had very nice conversation at the HCC is a use case of permanent curate. The new version of curate we described some week ago, where a deposit stays locked for an indefinite amount of time in order that the submitter is incentivized to abide to the policy, because if they do not abide to the policy rules, they will lose the deposit. And this specific use case that we discussed at the HCC is about ethical VC funds. So we will have a list with a policy that defines according to which principles a VC fund should operate to be considered ethical. And in this way, let's say that the VC would sort of have a badge, and you know that you can trust it, whether you are a LP or whether you are a funder. So like the possible interest of or let's say the actors interested in this list would be multiple, and yeah, they would have this badge, and if they do not operate according the principles stated in the policy, they will lose the badge and lose money too. So this is one of the cool projects that we got from FTC and we are currently working on.
Cool. Thank you, Fortunato. Marcos, are you there or not? I don't know. Maybe Jean, or you can continue if no, maybe.
Can you,
Now it's better, I think.
can you hear me now?
Yes, I think it's better.
When you said it's
talked
better,
about
it
this
got
on
worse
the
instantly.
Spanish community
You know,
call,
if I had to
but,
if I had to bet, I mean, I'm
we
sure
talked,
this space is not going to finish to end well. You know. Go ahead. Yeah, I think you have a very bad
my
connection, Jean. So
but, just would like to mention
okay.
about DeCom and that the
Yeah, there is some lag, I think.
Okay,
if
okay,
we
I
wait,
know, I can do it. I know what you want to say. So, well, I mean, when we started Kleros, we were, you know, thinking and the main case that we still pitch when we present Kleros to new people is, you know, Alice is a entrepreneur and she hires Bob, who is a freelancer, to make a video or like a website for her, and then there is a dispute, and you know, then they can use Kleros to settle different disputes that they could have, you know, in the case when she's in France and he's in Guatemala, and she's obviously not going to go to court in Guatemala to sue him, or they're not going to go to arbitration in an international arbitration seat just for a $1,000 dispute. So that Alice and Bob use case, freelancing, we or small businesses, we have been like pitching that for a long time. And when we started, that is the main use case we were targeting because of the economy becoming more globalized and these type of situations becoming more and more common. And the point is that at that time this type of transaction was really hard to do because I mean crypto adoption was not very high. Second, the gas costs were like super high in 2017. I don't know, maybe like doing like a escrow smart contract, you know, transaction would cost dozens or hundreds of dollars in gas, and then the jury selection process super expensive. So it obviously would not make much sense to do like this type of transaction for like a $1,000 contract. And then now, well, the Ethereum Foundation is starting to target this use case that they have called DeCom, decentralized commerce, that is trying to actually go after this like real life, simple, everyday, person use case where crypto actually solves a problem because these are transactions happening across borders between people who are in different places, and I did say this was not going to end well, when I was seeing the connection issues. I
Yeah,
don't know if
yeah,
it's on record. It's on record, right?
yeah. I thought immediately when the connection dropped, I was like, Federico would have won the bet. Yeah.
I mean, because I'm into prediction markets, that's the thing. Okay, so let's let's do it quick before it breaks again. Okay, so DeCom is like the Ethereum Foundation is now targeting, trying to push these use cases that were really hard to do before because of expensive gas costs, and especially the days where you had like a very big CryptoKitties congestion because people were buying. Do you remember, William, about the CryptoKitties? Ethereum gas super expensive because of people trading CryptoKitties. I mean, you were from that time. Yeah. Okay, so we have the CryptoKitties thing. No, sorry, I was thinking about DeCom. So Vitalik, in his talk, by the way, it's also worth mentioning. He mentioned when people were trying to build these decentralized Uber applications in 2016, 17. When we went to the first time we went to DevCon conference, we actually it was in Mexico 2017, and we met with the people who were actually building Arcade City, that they were trying to build a decentralized Uber platform. And imagine, I think because of the gas cost back then, the cost of having an Uber was like, I don't know, $200. And if you had a dispute with the driver, imagine the cost of. So, but this is how like early we were thinking about this type of situations. And now Vitalik mentioned that these use cases that were like visionary in the early days are now starting to actually become feasible. And this is why we are super excited with the DeCom movement. And we met with the people who are leading this in the Ethereum Foundation and seeing how we can collaborate. And also in DeCom also includes all of the kind of real world situations, real world use cases that the Ethereum Foundation is also trying to push. One of the things I liked the most about Vitalik's speech was when he said, I mean, stop solving nerds' problems. I mean, it's okay solving nerds' problems, but if everything you do is just solving nerds' problems and not solving real life problems of people, then it kind of becomes a bit abstract and theoretical. So we at Kleros have always been very much focused on the real life applications of what we do. Sometimes it's not easy because, as I said, in the early days, the tools and the tooling was not really available for lots of the use cases we were targeting, especially those that were like lower value. But now that this is aligning, so lots of the things we were thinking 7 years ago already are now becoming realistic to build. And part of that is the use cases of blockchain for, well, the things we discuss here usually for fintech, that the work we are doing with Lemon, insurance companies like what we pilot we did with MetLife, governments like Kleros resolves disputes with in Mendoza province in Argentina. I'm sure that yeah, that's why also I'm really excited about November coming, the Connect, because this is going to be a great opportunity for us to showcase many of the use cases that we have been developing over time, and that many of them are based in Argentina. So I'm sure that's what Jean wanted to say about the DeCom. So that's cool. I think I covered that. I don't know anything else, Jean. Am I be forgetting?
No, I think that's it. And well, we had two games.
It's better now. You can continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, just would like to mention that we had two games during, actually one game during DAPCon and another one during ETC, the shelling game. So people had to answer questions and like scan other people's QRs and kind of work as an icebreaker, and now they will receive a PNK prize. So there we will have a couple of new jurors joining the courts. And yeah, I think this is interesting.
Okay, so we had that game also, and I guess that's it about the conference. Yeah, I don't think there's much more to add. Yeah.
Another thing is that JB, Green, and Guamian participated on the hackathon, and they created a solution that integrates Kleros V1, I think, or the V2 with more chains. It's called La Croisette, and it was not finished, but it was also they used like these new AI tools, AI coding tools to create that on a very short amount of time, and it looks like they made lots of progress, and it could be maybe in the future a way of the Kleros team collaborating on future and also participate on at a hackathon at the same time, and also finding the gaps where we need maybe to improve our documentation for the human coders and also the AI coding tools, because that's a thing now. If you have like a great documentation for AI, maybe it's easier for someone to create an application very quickly with a couple of prompts. And I think that's what should be one of the objectives for the V2. To be nice to have that.
Yeah, the V2 also, we are now working a lot in like the road map towards the final launch, preparing everything for the smart contract reviews and all that. We are implementing some dispute kits that we need in order to address a number of use cases that we consider important. In particular, dispute kits that allow for selection of jurors by SVTs. Sometimes partners ask jurors to comply with some conditions. For example, Mendoza wants jurors in their cases to be residents of Mendoza, or some DAO may want jurors solving disputes from that DAO to actually belong to that DAO, or to have some particular expertise like knowledge about insurance, car crashes, insurance, or whatever. And this can be represented by soulbound tokens. So now we are implementing this type of dispute kit into the official V2 like launch. And well, then we will start thinking about executing the code audits to make sure that everything is okay and there's no vulnerabilities. And of course, we will get you updated as we move forward. But let's say the road to the official launch of V2 Kleros 2.0 is already going on. Okay, so we have that. We already mentioned about. I don't know, Fortunato, you want to say something else about recent curation news, or we already covered that?
Yeah, I could share a couple of interesting updates that we have about curation. In the upcoming 2 weeks. So for August, we will release major updates related to the Scout registries. Most of these updates, in the pure spirit of Kleros, came from the community feedback. So we integrated a lot of feedbacks we got in the last months, and they are related to introducing removal requests, rewards for removal requests, increasing the qualities of some of the entries of tokens, and also changing a bit the parameters for submission. We have also been discussing this with William in the previous week. So to lower the amount of necessary deposits for new submissions and more updates. And I think next week, by Thursday or Friday, we should release a full article blog post where you will see all the updates. They will be live in August. On the partnership side, I already mentioned the use of permanent curate that we got with another team at HCC. We will also share more information in the upcoming weeks. And another interesting partnership is with OtterScan. For those of you who don't know this, it's a open source block explorer. So it's basically like Etherscan, but the code is fully open. So you can download it, you can run it locally, host it, tweak it. And from now on, this open source project will also fetch information from the Scout registries. And one last thing, I strongly recommend to stake in Curation Court, because we are getting many cases coming from the not just the Scout registries, but also from C registries. So yeah, if you stake on Curation Court, you will now have very good chances of being drawn, besides the juror incentive program that we run monthly as a co-op. So yeah, this is the main highlight from the last week.
I mean, could we say that Kleros is currently like the main player in the decentralized curation industry?
Absolutely. We have around 9,000 unique submissions, but in terms of tagged addresses, we tagged more than 600,000 addresses. And in fact, like the major players, the block explorers, work with us. Like we have worked for a long time already with Etherscan. We recently started the integration with Block Scout. Now we also have OtterScan, which is an independent project, let alone other use cases like the MetaMask Snap or Ledger. So yeah, we are the main independent and decentralized source of contract metadata. And we plan to grow, and we also plan to use this contract metadata for new use cases. But yeah, it's something we're currently working on, and we will release more in the upcoming week.
Yeah, so there's so much more than just Alice and Bob, disputes in Kleros. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
William, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like not a whole lot of specific things to say, like just, continuing the various research agenda we've had, spellbound tokens and peer prediction and things that ultimately can be used to, develop do dispute kits for V2 to enable more subtle handling of various kinds of disputes. We have the sort of you were discussing before, the dispute kit for requiring spellbound tokens to indicate that people belong to some kind of community in order to be able to be drawn as jurors on a case. The game theory of that is pretty clear if you only want one spellbound token. which is what's being developed now, and like has a very similar security model to proof of humanity. Filters where you require someone to be on, like have a single qualification to be on the list. We thought a lot about how like, what does your mechanism look like when you want people to have like multiple qualifications? Maybe not all of them, but try to like draw some people with like some pool of qualifications, all of which are relevant. So a lot of different research on this and other ideas to like continue advancing different dispute codes.
Thank you, William. One thing that happened. Oh, by the way, now in our Telegram group, it's starting the office hours with JB and Parul. So I mean, there are so many things going on that we kind of cannot cover everything. So we have like the community call here, and then on the Telegram there is another call about the development, mostly oriented things. Parul is our DevRel, and they are discussing. I think today the topic was about Shutter for the commit and reveal. So yeah, I mean, you can choose either listen to, I mean, boring Federico, or maybe go to the, the Telegram, and then you have Parul and JB and all. Okay, and if you stay, I'm flattered, by the way. Okay, so we have that. I don't know, William, if you want to mention your little trip to Iceland, or there's not. I think it's a cool thing to mention.
Sure. So I applied and was accepted to sort of a research retreat fellowship thing, which is being organized. I think the big players are from Protocol Labs. It's people from the Ethereum Foundation. It's organized through funded through various grants. People are going to research public goods funding, impact evaluation. So particularly my research on soulbound token weighting in Kleros, and how you kind of weight by SPTs is heavily inspired by similar work that Glenn Weil has done on weighting quadratic funding by SPTs. And quadratic funding is, of course, a mechanism that people are very interested in for public goods funding. So I'm particularly interested in engaging on those kinds of topics, like what are the right, what generalizations of quadratic funding do one want to consider for different use cases potentially, and then what lessons can you take from sort of that theory and apply to the theory of Kleros juror selection, which has some important similarities. So that's in a few weeks. I'll be bunkered down for a couple weeks in Reykjavik with various researchers from across the Web3 space to work on these problems.
You know what I was thinking before, William? I mean, when you are on your way to Iceland, I mean, what if you could become a part of the musical at Gander Airport? You know?
Yeah, well,
I mean, it's on the way, right?
It is, although I'm going to fly over it. If for whatever reason, my plane gets grounded in Gander, I would not say no to being a side character in a musical.
So that was an inside joke between me and William. I mean, there is a musical come from away that it takes place on the Gander Airport during I think it was the week following the September 11 attacks or something like that. And this is where planes used to stop on their way from, America to Europe when the flight was less advanced, and they had to stop many times, right?
Yep, that's right. So they wound up having a very large airport there because they, had all of these flights had to stop there because they needed to refuel, and now they still have that large airport, but they don't have very many flights. So it's an interesting sort of relic. I would like to see it someday.
We were discussing this last week. Together now it's actually maybe happening. Okay. Okay, Marcos, do you want to mention something about business development? There are some really, really good things happening, but that we cannot really mention in public because it's still not public. But yeah, if you want, Marcos, you can. Yeah, go ahead.
Also, when Marcos joined, a very interesting thing that came to my mind is also related to HCC was the talk by Vitalik, where he was underlining the importance of not focusing on nerd problems. So like in Web3, a lot of companies maybe they are focused how to optimize their infra for a cross-chain dApp, while like the example of Alice and Bob is like a real example that needs to be solved. The interactions between two different people in different parts of the world and having a dispute resolution. So I would say that it's very fitting for what we do at Kleros, trying to use Web3 to solve real problems. And in this matter, I think Marcos always brings extremely interesting real use cases. He's doing a lot of work on real use cases of Kleros, as you mentioned earlier, Federico, like Lemon or Mendoza or MetLife. So I think this was also a encouraging part of HCC. So Marcos, if you want to add more about these use cases you're working on.
Let me just add something, because
Yes.
what you said is important. Just one little thing. For a long time I thought that there is maybe no such thing as a blockchain industry, but it's more like there are different industries like finance and legal and governments, and then blockchain is a technology you can use to solve certain problems in each of these industries. And I saw a tweet the other day that had a similar thesis, and this is what they said. Maybe in 10 years there will not be a crypto conference. There will be a finance and law and government or whatever conference, and then one part of those conferences will have some section about blockchain and as a technology that is used to solve those types of problems. So maybe that is the direction where we are going. And I wanted to mention that because that tweet really resonated with ideas and thoughts I had for a long time. So yeah, Marcos, go ahead.
So yes, well, thanks, Fortunato, for the intro. I was waiting for the approval to speak, but well, yes, some updates from the BD team or from Kleros Enterprise. In first place, last week we received some cases of Lemon. I think last week one case was resolved. Now we have another one that was created today of Lemon again. And we have another one that is going to be created between this week and the next one. Then last week, we too resolved a new case from Mendoza. It was an interesting case where the justifications for the juror were really good. So, well, thanks for your work. That's very important for us. Then we have that new that Federico already mentioned. For the moment, it's about ombudsman in Argentina. It's something that we spoke we mentioned during the last year, but for the moment it's not confirmed. When it's confirmed that this should happen maybe in the next weeks or months, we'll come here with a confirmation, and we will we'll publish it in our media. And then I remember I had one last update. About ETC, of course. After ETC, we've been in touch with some leads that we have been talking there, and some integrations might come in the future. And yes, I think those are the most important thing from Kleros Enterprise, at least, yes.
Cool. Thank you, Marcos. I guess we all spoke already, and I think
yes.
Go ahead.
No, I remember now. The thing that I was missing was a MedLife case that is going to be uploaded most probably today or tomorrow. So, yeah.
There you go. Cool. Anything else, Jean, that we should mention today?
Well, just remember people to stake stake PNK, the APY is now close to 23% or 22%. So if you know someone that has PNK, hasn't staked yet, tell them to stake. It helps the court have more economic security, and it's a good idea to earn some extra tokens.
Yeah, you don't want to someday find yourself in a situation of, oh, why didn't I stay when I had the chance and get all that, and now I regret not doing it. I mean, just saying. Well, I guess that's it for today, guys. Then thank you very much for coming, and see you next week at the same time at 6 p.m. UTC. Yeah, have a great rest of the week. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye,
See you
y'all.
next week.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.